It's high time. It should have been done a long time ago.
It's high time. And then what do you think about his previous comments, though, that it was too escalatory to do, now it's not?
I think he was wrong. I think, every different weapon system first was too escalatory, and then we eventually gave it to them. And they're fighting not only for their lives, they're fighting for democracy, and they're fighting for the world order against, just
fighting
invasion of another country.
Fighting for the world order.
By force, which is inadmissible since 1945. And we should give them whatever they need.
And are you concerned that they will enter into Russian territory, as there have been recent reports of Belgorod, the border city?
I'm not concerned. I wouldn't care if they did.
You wouldn't care if they went into Russia?
Nope.
Really? You would still support them?
Turnabout's fair play. I don't think they're going to do it in any large scale. But why should Russia feel that they can invade somebody else and have total safety at home?
Well, but that would cross the line to a U.S. sanctioned invasion of Russia by
You don't
Ukraine.
have to sanction it.
Well, you would be providing the weapons that conducted it, is what I'm saying. Is if the
We're not
F-16s
providing it for that purpose. I said I personally wouldn't mind.
You personally wouldn't mind, but
He's so cute.
You are a representative of the government.
Well, I'm part of the government. I'm not part of the executive branch.
Right.
But I think we should give them whatever they need.
Okay. And if an F-16 was to be used on Russia, you wouldn't come out and say that's too much? It's too far?
No, I don't think that's going to happen in any event, but no. They're going to use F-16s for air defense, basically.
But there are these reports right now that American weapons are being used in Belgorod, which is, a Russian territory. It's already happening.
That may be, but they're not going to use major weapons. I mean...
Okay. I need to find out where I'm hearing the doubled audio from. What the heck is my problem? I don't even have that many windows open today, so it's going to be easy to find. You all, though, might, however, be noticing that the audio is good. First of all, I need to thank a specific... Oh, I should thank the Twitter handle. Well, someone on Twitter helped me, members of Diagolon, tweak my audio so that it would be good. The audio should be good. Can you believe, I want to say Ralph Nader. It's Herb Nadler. No, Jerry Nadler. Jeez Louise, what's his name? Jerry, just so cavalierly talking about what I believe are war crimes and, at the very least, conduct that would escalate a war into a third world war. I've been looking for a good reason to refresh everyone's memory on Jerry Nadler having said that. And today's a pretty good pretext because it's part and parcel of the reason for which our guest of the evening, Owen Shroyer, got into trouble. According to his Wikipedia page, which I think they're going to update tonight. I think they're going to update the Wikipedia page after our interview. According to Wikipedia, let me see here. Bring up the Wikipedia propaganda rubbish. According to Wikipedia, the reason why Owen was had a guilty plea entered, if you go to the last paragraph here, the guilty plea in the charge of illegally entering a restricted area for January 6th, he had a deferred prosecution agreement for interrupting a congressional hearing back in 2019, in which he interrupted one of the impeachment hearings for Donald Trump to claim that Trump was innocent and, quote, Jerry Nadler and the Democrat Party are committing treason against this country. And that was well before what I believe is a suggestion of an egregious war crime at the very least. Do we want to play? Why do I have a dog that just came in the room, didn't close the door? Get over here. We got a dog that came in for the party, people. Behold, Winston. Oh, this little dog, he's so... he smells so good. Now get out and stop scratching me. We have to appreciate what Jerry Nadler was suggesting right there. I don't mind. We're going to give him weapons. If Russia wants to invade Ukraine, why should Russia feel safe at home? There's a word for targeting... I think the suggestion was targeting civilian populations. It sure as heck was not, to me, suggesting striking military targets within Russia. It's if Russia wants to invade another country, why should they feel safe at home? Let's use some weapons that if we provide them to Ukraine and they use them to go strike interior of Russia, civilian targets potentially, but we'll steal that and say military targets. Wouldn't that be the U.S. sanctioning that conduct? Oh, we don't have to sanction it. We could just give them the weapons and close our eyes and say we didn't know what they were going to do with it. War criminals. Treason would be, maybe contextually inappropriate, but potentially worse. All right, let's get the Wikipedia page out of here. I see Robert Barnes in the backdrop, and I'm getting annoyed by a dog here. Stop. This dog maybe feels that he hasn't gotten enough attention today. I'm going to bring Barnes in. I see Owen Shroyer is in the back, or at least the screen is up. Maybe he's going to come in a second, and I want to bring Barnes in so that we can equalize the audio. Audio's good, right, people? Did everybody watch the interview with Stephen Horn? Go watch it. This is a journalist convicted of journalizing on January 6th. Viva Fry was an... See, I don't know if this is a... Viva Fry was it? Hey, we were all inside jobs, people. How do you think humans are made? Okay, Barnes, I'm bringing you in. Robert, sir, how goes the battle?
Good.
Now, everyone's going to say, is my audio better? You don't hear crackling? It's not like blown out? I spent like a solid hour tinkering with it to get it proper. Robert, are you following what's going on Rumble? On Twitter, with Rumble, with Twitter, with the UK government? Now, like, asking social media, hey, we just want to ask you, are you still monetizing that guy over there? It'd be a shame if something happens to your social media companies. Oh, we're going to talk about it on Sunday. And some questions I have following the interview with Stephen Horn. So we got Owen Shroyer. He's in the backdrop. I see him. Man, Owen Shroyer, I cannot look at Owen and not see... You need 2 minutes? Or are you ready? 2 minutes? He's doing the peace signs. Hold on. I cannot see but Brad Pitt. Owen, you get Brad Pitt all the time, right?
You're not the first. You're not the first person. You might be the first man, but not the first person.
Look, I'm not saying if I were, Brad Pitt is a beautiful specimen of a human being. Owen, so this is the first time. It's not. I feel like we've talked before, but I'm senile. We did a show.
You've been on my show actually a couple times. It's funny because I bring you on to talk about U.S. legal stuff, and you're always like, first of all, I'm Canadian, eh? But you'll still talk about it with me.
No, I'm going totally senile because when someone else is on another channel, when it's on another channel, it's like a totally different context. And now I'm trying to think of the things that we talked about. Owen, first of all, you got an impersonator on Twitter who got me. They put out a tweet.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is crazy because one of Robert Barnes's great attorneys, Lexis, just filed a cease and desist to that individual for that exact reason. I just finished doing an interview with her about it. We're filing it tomorrow. That is crazy that you just brought that up. I'm not even kidding. She's probably still here watching this, and that we just are filing a cease and desist because of that.
What's amazing is they put out a tweet, and it was... I mean, first of all, I go to check the profiles now ever since I accidentally picked a fight with a 14-year-old kid. I went to the profile. It wasn't
You don't have to admit that.
The profile was not obviously a parody enough, but the tweet, and it's funny, even when I make a mistake, it wasn't that bad. They said, I'm going to D.C. I'm going to tell the judge to give me 60 days, 5 years. And I was like, oh, that sounds like that's very defiant. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off. And, it wasn't you, but you ended up getting 60 days.
Well, this person, it's going to be very curious because we are going to try to find the identity of this clearly psychotic, deranged individual. So I'll be curious to know, is this somebody who has like a grudge from my past? I mean, I can't even think of anybody who would. Is it maybe somebody that works for the government? Is it a Democrat voter? I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll see, because here's the thing. This is what's so crazy about it. And I don't fault you for falling for the fake Twitter account. You're not the first, certainly. I hope that you're the last, but I know you're not the first. They're verified. They have a verified account. So X obviously has some personal information about this individual that hopefully we're going to get access to. But what's even more frustrating is that my personal account is yet to be reinstated. My actual verified personal account is yet to be reinstated. I have filed 3 reinstatement requests since Elon Musk took over, and I am still yet to be reinstated. So maybe this helps me in the reinstatement process, but nonetheless, they verify a fake Owen Shroyer account, and the real Owen Shroyer can't even get his account back.
Well, I mean, it's clear that they have a grudge. It goes back because when I started going through tweets, it seems to go back to statements you and Alex Jones made back in the day of Sandy Hook about undermining or suggesting one of the fathers, that I forget his name, was a crisis actor. I mean, that's in my mind undoubtedly what it goes back to, and I could sort of understand that some people will never forgive you, Alex, Infowars, for those mistakes or for those bad statements. So I suspect that's what it goes back to, if I had to guess.
I think timing-wise, it's actually more recent.
The account was started in October of last year, so it's been around for almost a year now. And thanks for Lexus's good work. We're getting a lot more of these details, but it's even wilder. The odds are that this individual is tuned in to this show right now, because as we were announcing the cease and desist that we're going to file tomorrow, the individual was tweeting out from the fake account about the show.
Look, I don't. Parody accounts are fair game. They just have to be, clearly identified so that people don't think it's for real. I got wise when I saw some of the other tweets, but that was only after retweeting the one that said, that was a defiant move, and I thought it's believable. It was close enough. I'm sure you were thinking the same thing.
Well, I'm glad that you appreciate my commitment to defiance, but that it was certainly not me.
So, Owen, we're going to establish one thing, or I guess maybe Wikipedia is going to update its page. May I ask what year you were born in?
1989.
Wikipedia is going to go update it. No longer any uncertainty. It's not 1990. We made news. Sorry, Barnes, I think I cut you off there.
No. Go ahead.
Okay, so Owen, for those who don't know who you are, I think most people do. Give us the 30,000-foot overview, and we're going to get into the stories of the day.
Well, I'm glad that you give me this opportunity, because when you're one of the most banned and censored and now politically persecuted men in America like I am, it's hard for people to get a fair representation or feeling about who I am. And I think that even the U.S. government, quite frankly, is underestimating this, because I've been an extremely likable and, quite frankly, popular person my entire life. I'm not somebody that has a shortage of friends, okay? And in fact, I'm even friends with my parents' friends. And so, they're basically, I'm not trying to claim I'm some sort of a choir boy here, but I mean, you're basically going after a Boy Scout. You're basically going after an individual who, I mean, I would say everybody, if not 99% of the people I've come into communication, touch with, relationships with in my life, I've been a positive, joyful experience, transaction, friendship with them. So you're targeting a person who's pretty much liked, if not loved, by everybody that I've ever met. And so even liberal friends of mine that have known me forever, they're like, dude, what they're trying to do to you is unreal. I can't believe how corrupt things are. So I guess that's how it had to be. But to give a 30,000-foot view, from St. Louis, Missouri, and what's tragic about this is I knew in high school that my American dream was to be in media. I knew that in high school. When I wasn't the best player on the varsity soccer team and basketball team and baseball team, I knew that my dreams of being a professional athlete were probably not going to come through. So at that point in time, I knew that media was what I wanted to go into. And I've really been doing this since I was 16 years old. I was a senior writer and editor for my high school paper. I won't say I did it individually. There were some other individuals, obviously, but I was one of the founders of the morning news broadcast that goes on at my high school still every day to this day. I helped start that. Even in college, I was a senior editor, senior writer at my paper, and I was a professional in sports media. By the time I was 21 years old, I was hosting my first talk shows. Now, granted, this was all in the sports media. And when I got a little more experience and into my adult years, I realized that the sports media is not where I wanted to be. Not because I didn't enjoy it or even enjoy sports, but you start to realize it is just a game at the end of the day. And there are more important things like politics and foreign policy and law enforcement and the justice system. So I made the pivot probably, I think I was maybe 24 years old or so. I'd have to go back and check it. The pivotal moment was the Boston Marathon bombing and then the Michael Brown riots in Ferguson. And that's when I decided I was going to make my pivot to politics. And so I did it. I had some viral videos on the internet, eventually ended up getting hired by InfoWars in 2016, became one of the first big political personalities to be in support of Donald Trump. And you might say the rest is history. But so when dealing with my case now of the Justice Department wanting to criminalize my speech, really, look, I'll be honest with you. I'm a type A personality. My biggest pet peeve is wasting time. I'm productive. If I don't have a productive day, I'm like, I feel empty. I feel hollow. Like I don't even know what to do with myself. And so, yeah, I don't want to go to jail. I don't even know what I would do with myself sitting around all day. I don't know. I'd probably just do push-ups and read all day or something. But what breaks my heart is that I feel like I've had such an opportunity to accomplish my American dream and become a part of the political media and be a journalist. I fear for younger Americans. I feel for the 16-year-old that's in high school right now writing stories for his high school paper. I fear for the college student right now that's going on the air every day to talk politics on their college radio stations. My heart breaks that they're going to be afraid to speak with punishment from the government. That's what breaks my heart. And Victoria Spartz, who's a congresswoman in Indiana, she immigrated, her family here immigrated here to get out of an oppressive country. She fled an oppressive government country, and she's at Capitol Hill today addressing Merrick Garland saying, "You've become the new KGB. You are now more corrupt than the country that I fled oppression. You are now putting Americans in fear of the government." So aside from the fact, obviously, I don't want to go to jail. I mean, look, if they want to make me into a political free speech martyr case, then so be it, I guess. But no, my heart breaks because of the high school student, because of the college student that now has to live in fear that what they might say could end them up in jail.
How did you grow up in Missouri? What did your parents do? What was your family like? What was your upbringing like?
I was pretty, I would say, middle-class American. We weren't the richest family, but I felt rich because I had a family that cared about me. I felt rich because I grew up in, I don't know how a community could have been better than the community I grew up in. Again, it's about middle class. But it was, my dad was, he owned his own business. He was an entrepreneur. My mom used to own her own business, doing physical fitness and therapy. When she had me, she kind of just gave that up. She started to get more into the professional world when I got older. Conservative family, not really political, but definitely a conservative family, a Christian household. I grew up Catholic and Christian. Went to a Catholic preschool and then grade school, and then I went for high school to what used to be a military academy. They kept a lot of the military rules from the academy, but it was no longer an accredited military academy when I went there. It was a Christian school when I went there with the military academy background. And a lot of the sergeants, drill sergeants, corporals, and lieutenants were still teaching there as well. I greatly value my upbringing for that. But really, my family wasn't really politically charged. I mean, I do have veterans on both sides of my family, but not too politically charged. I've got some liberals in my family. I've got some conservatives in my family, but it wasn't really a political upbringing in mine at all. In fact, when I started to pivot to politics, because you got to understand, making it in sports media is really tough. It's really one of the toughest industries to make it in, because once people get in, they don't leave, right? I mean, so you're waiting people out for decades just to try to get a job. And I had my foot in the door for a lot of different opportunities. And I met a lot of different people that were going to give me opportunities. And so when I switched to politics, I think, people in my family were like, "Are you nuts? You don't even know the first thing about politics. What are you doing leaving sports media?" But now they realize I made the right decision. And, the funny thing, too, is that, somebody that knew nothing about politics in 10 years can become one of the most influential and banned political figures in the world simply by telling the truth. That's all I had to do. I just had to tell the truth, and I leapfrogged 90% of the media. So, I mean, that's basically an upbringing for me. But, I mean, you know what? I would just say it like this. I'm just the average American boy. I'm just the average all-American boy, all-American man. And so, of course, this is what the Democrats and now the Justice Department want to make illegal.
We can also put to bed another rumor. Shroyer, you're not Jewish. It's the last name. It's a Germanic origin, which means cut or chop. Most likely originally born by a woodcutter, which brings me into the question, Owen. How many generations has your family been in America?
This is an incredible question, and I'm lucky enough that I actually know the answer. I had a couple great aunts, may they rest in peace now, a couple great ladies. Man, I could tell stories about them all day long. But they lived into their 80s, I believe, both of them, 70s or 80s, and they became obsessed in their later years with finding out the Shroyer lineage. And so I may have forgotten some of the details are kind of cloudy in my head. It's been years since I sat down with them, and they're no longer with us. And actually, I was vying. They had my aunt June had stacks of binders. I mean, like 5 stacks of binders, all tracing the Shroyer lineage back to when the Shroyer name first came to America, which was, I believe, the 1670s. Wow. It was 7 Shroyer brothers that came here in the 1670s. They lived in Pennsylvania for decades as farmers, and then they started marrying off and they started moving about the country, and it became harder and harder to track and trace where it all went. But they traced it back to the 1670s. Shroyer brothers moving here from Germany, being farmers. And it was funny when they would tell me the story, and I was really into it, and I was begging. I was like, when you die, I was like, my poor Aunt June, when you die, give me these documents. I want these documents. She gave them to her son, who's now probably in his 60s himself. Maybe I'll get them someday too. They went to courthouses, and she would explain they had to crowbar into archives. And like they would crowbar into these archives that hadn't been opened in decades. And like, you know, you can imagine just dust just comes pouring out, and they got the records. And some of them were like, look, you can take whatever you want, just take it. And so she actually was able to take some of the records and laminate them and put them into these sheets. And so it's funny because, you know, people will make all types of assumptions about you, and unaware that you actually know where you came from. And so I love it when people actually bring that up. But yeah, that's the Shroyer name. As far as I know, I don't believe there's any Jewish history in my family. I don't think anybody.
No, I know it's the reflex that, you know, being Jewish, whenever I hear a Germanic last name, it's because I've grown up with that, where the Germanic people who fled Europe were Jewish. But I mean, look, the reality is that there's not every Germanic last name is of Jewish origin at all. And Shroyer, I mean, I had to look it up and just satisfy my curiosity there. How many siblings do you have?
I've got a younger sister. That's it.
Okay.
So are you still Catholic?
I mean, you know, when you get confirmed into the Catholic Church, technically you're Catholic the rest of your life. But I'm not a practicing Catholic. I don't know the last time I went to mass.
Okay.
Now what out of curiosity, at what point did you sort of transition into what, you know, more non-denominational, if you will?
That was really more following my parents that started going to a non-denominational church when I was in high school. I mean, when I was in grade school, you know, you go to Catholic mass 2 times a week. But they started going to non-denominational when I was in high school. And then really, I mean, honestly, people talk about it a lot because we do have a large Christian audience at InfoWars. And I have some people that, you know, they talk about me and tell me I need to go to church and stuff. And I know it's all in the goodness of their heart. And my problem has always been, because I've been to church a couple times, the problem has always been, it's just like, I feel like there's more truth in what I do every day than I get from any of these preachers. I mean, it feels like to me, like, how can I don't know. I just feel like when the preacher doesn't even understand the real issues that we're facing right now, and the real issues that even Christians are facing right now, it's hard for me to motivate myself to spend hours in those churches. And I know there's other reasons, and I'm not knocking people that do. Obviously, these are some of the best people. But yeah, I don't really go to church, and a lot of people give me trouble for it.
Well, I had said that when there was a meme going around, "Are you right wing?" and it says goes to church, has a family, has kids. And I was like, check, but I don't go to church. But I think the church is symbolic for something else, which is, you know, spirituality in a broader sense, not necessarily the organized religion sense. Owen, we're going to end this on YouTube now because YouTube, as they say, is asshole. And we're going to go over to Rumble. So I'm going to end it now. We're going to get into when it was that you became public enemy number 1, because first of all, we've known each other, or we know each other, you know, as we've known on the internet. You seem like a good guy. Not everybody's perfect, and I certainly know that the world is hanging its hat on maybe the one mistake, but I need to know when you became public enemy number 1. Did it predate certain things? We're going to get that answer on Rumble, because